Now our job is to go and look into the third aspect of it. Now what is the third aspect? The third aspect name is called variable size decrease. Now, what does it say? What does it basically mean? Okay, as the name suggests, as you can see very clearly, the name itself is pretty clear in the way it is talking about. Okay, it is very clearly talking about from the fact that you are going to decrease it, of course, but it will not be decreasing by a constant, or it will not be decreasing by a constant factor. It will be decreasing by some sort of a variable aspect of it. Okay, so that is something that you got to keep in mind here. Okay, so what are the things that you are going to look for here? First and foremost, uh, the variable size decrease. Now, what is variable size decrease? Let's look into it. Okay, so you can see what is variable size decrease. The variable size decrease, each iteration of the loop or each time the size reduction pattern varies from one iteration to another iteration. Probably you will not understand from that. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to sort of look into it. Okay, before we look into it, what is the first and second technique what you learned? The first technique was you are going to decrease it every time by 1. The second technique is every time you are going to decrease it by 2. Generally we call it as a factor, but constant factor, but we constant factor is nothing but 2 what we take. First one is constant, which is nothing but 1. So this one, the third one, it is varying. How do you do it is varying? Okay, it will be varying every step. Okay, so every step it will be varying. What is the example for it? Okay, how you are going to decrease and figure out a value of something by varying every time. A classic example that people are always going to give you with regard to this is with regard to GCD of two numbers. Probably you must be knowing GCD of two numbers. Way back in your second sem only, you would have learned the example for GCD symbol, how it is all done. Okay, while we are finding out GCD of two numbers m and n, what we are going to take? I'm going to take m and n because generally that is what people generally take, m and n. Okay, each iteration is every time we keep on doing the same thing, right? So each iteration we are going to sort of decrease it variably. Okay, iteration we are going to decrease, but this decrease will be varying every time. This is something that you need to keep in mind, that it will be varying. Okay, so what is the way of writing it? Then we need to see also how it is varying on. So if you want to write an equation for it, okay, if I have to write an equation for GCD of numbers, obviously I need to show the example, right? Like just like how I showed it in the previous things. So if you want to write an example for it, the example will be very much written like this. How we can easily write GCD of two numbers m and n, and what is an equation that you are supposed to get? The equation will be something like this: m if n is equal to 0. What is it? We'll see. Okay, we'll see. We'll take some few numbers and we are going to see under. Okay. Next, what is other way? The GCD of n, comma. Be careful here. M. So GCD of m mod and n. When otherwise, if it is not anything related to 0, otherwise you are going to get an equation like this. This is a classic example for decrease, variable size decrease. The third aspect of decrease and conquer. People should not believe just by looking at this. You should sort of question how it is all done. We are going to take an example. Okay, we are going to take an example. This example will be taking you to get both GCD also and also to very clearly show you how in each and every step the the value is sort of decreasing, and this decrease is varying. That's very important. It is varying. Okay, that is varying, and that is something that you need to keep in mind here. Okay, so let's take one example. What are the example we are going to take? We are going to take an example of m and n. M and m on n value only we need to take now. So m value we are going to take as, see, I'm going to write it. M value we are going to take as 6. N value we are going to take it as 10. Okay, and we are going to trace it. Okay, we are going to trace it. That's very important. So that is something that you need to sort of understand here. Both the equation is written, the tracing part will be written. You will be knowing that it is varying every time. when you call sort of decreasing it, that too, not by a constant factor, but varying in however way it wants. Okay. So if you take this, what is the first thing? Okay. So shall I do what is known as the tracing part here? This table is very important if you want to show that tracing part of how this is working. You can take small m, small n also. Because it's a tracing related things, I'm going to take it as a bigger one. Okay. So I'm going to take this very simple aspect of understanding things. Okay. What is the value of m? 6. What's the value of n? 10. And what you can write here? Probably something like a description or something like that. Okay. Now what we write here becomes very important. Okay. So is n is equal to 0? And what is the equation? Where is the equation? Equation is right on the top. See, if n is equal to 0, we are going to give back m. That is itself as a GCD. Is n equal to 0? No. So obviously, I need to do the second one. Okay. What is the second one? The second one being okay. See why you guys are still using guest IDs. I don't know. Okay, and it disturbs me. It just doesn't like that. Okay, this people keep on coming. I don't just like it. Okay, keep that in mind. Use, if you forgotten the IDs, use Kiran's phone number. Okay, call him up and get his did done. Okay, simply keep on using guest IDs. Don't like it. Okay, now let's look into this. Okay, m and n, 6 and 10. If n is equal to 0, I'm going to give back m like this. When, if I take an example, okay, when m value is equal to maybe around 6 and n value is equal to 0, what is my GCD? My GCD very clearly, without any worry, I can say it's 6. Okay, why? Because n is equal to 0, so I need to give back m. What is m? 6. So GCD of this is all done. Anyone can do it. Okay, I don't want to do that. The first condition is very simplest of part. Okay, anyone can do it. So that's not a one we are worried about. We are worried about figuring out how to sort of know this. One, we are going to figure out the GCD. Two, we are also going to know that every step it is varying, it is decreasing variably. Okay, it is decreasing variably. That's the right word. Okay, so let's sort of look into this. Okay, is n is equal to 0? No. So what we are going to do? We are going to do the second part. And what is that second part? We are supposed to get the what is known as the GCD of n comma m mod n. That's what we are going to get, right? So probably this key I'll just write it here so that you will remember. Okay. So what we are going to get? We need to get the GCD value. Okay. So we need to get the GCD of, how do you think the second one would be? N comma m mod n. This is what we are going to get for the second one. So what happens here? What happens here? Okay, that's very important. This will be looking through like this. What is the value of m? Now, since n is not equal to 0, what we are going to do? We are going to write like this. Okay, the n value needs to be shifted. So what we are going to get? We are going to get the values like this. Whatever that is there in n will be coming here. And what's the next step? Next very important step. Okay, n will be having a value of what? M mod n. So what is the meaning of that? That means that m value will be equal to, or the 10 value will be put in right here. Okay. And what's the next thing? You are going to get the n value. What is the n value? N value will become equal to, do one thing. Okay. Everywhere we use a small thing only, so that it will not be having any confusion. Okay. So n, what is the value you are going to get? 6. Be careful here. Mod 10. Okay. 6 mod 10. Now you see the value, it's how it is changing. Okay. Now in the next step, what is going to happen? The next step is you are going to get a value like this. Okay. What is the value of m? M value is becoming 10. What's the value of n? Look into the first step. What is the value of n now? N value is becoming 6 now. Again, you check whether n is equal to 0. Is n equal to 0? No. So what you do? Again, the same thing. Okay. What is the same thing? M is to be kept in with whatever the value of n is to be put in m. And the next step, same thing. Okay. Same thing only will be keep on continuing till n becomes 0. Okay, so this. So what does this mean? You are going to get m value. Okay, m value, whatever that is there in n, 6 will be coming here, and n value, you are going to get a value like this. What is that value? 10. Be careful, I'm not doing anything new. Okay, please keep that in mind. Okay, these are some things which you sort of look at and you will be sort of understanding. Okay, 10 mod 6. What is 10 mod 6? You will be getting equal to 4. Okay, so next step, what are you going to get it in the next step? The next step is again, you are going to get, once again, I'll just elongate this. When you're writing in exam, you need to write it neatly, okay? Not like me, because I don't want to, you know, there's no need for me to sort of keep it neat, okay? And you have to keep it neat. So this is what you're going to get now, okay? Now again, you need to check for n is equal to 0. Is n is equal to 0? No. So same step needs to be considered. So m, n, and of course, n equal to m mod n. Same thing. Okay, so what is the next step? Next step is you are going to get whatever the value that is there in n, which is 4, and the next thing, okay, n value will be equal to m. What is the value of m? M value is equal to 6, then you got mod, okay, then you got equal to 4, which is equal to 2. Okay, so this is also done. This step is also done. Now go for the next step. What is the next step? Now the value will be changing. Now what is the value will be changing? It will be coming 4 here and of course 2 here. Okay, again check n is equal to 0. No. So what you are going to get? You are going to get the same old thing again. M n and n equal to m mod of n. Okay, so what is the value of m? M value again is equal to nothing but 2. And next you are going to get the next one, same, n value is nothing but equal to 4 modulus of 2. 4 modulus of 2. Be careful, okay? I hope everyone knows what is the modulus. Why I have written this one? Okay, see, when we see that, we'll write modulus. I'll generally write percentage. Okay, n mod, what is it? 2. What is the value you get? The value you get is 0. Be careful here. You are getting 0 here. So what is the value that you are going to get here? The next step. The next step, be careful. This is where it becomes very important. This step, it becomes 0. This step, it will become 0. 2 and it will become 0 right here. Now be careful. N value. Look into n value. What is n value? This one. Okay. This one. N value is becoming 0. Okay. N value is becoming 0 now. This is very important. So where what you write? Since, okay, n value is equal to 0. What will be the GCD? GCD will be whatever the value that is there in m. GCD is equal to whatever the value that is there in m will become your GCD, which is what? Equal to 2. What is that 2? You can see very clearly here. So you figure out, and you can go and figure out, okay, what is the GCD of 6 and 10? Okay, what is the greatest common divisor for 6 and 10? It is 2. Is there any other number? No. Probably if you take 6 and 12, then there is 3. But here, it's only 2. So you got the GCD. Number 1, our strategy is done. Okay, our first strategy of finding out the correct GCD is all done. But why did we come here? We came here to figure out how a value can be got by decreasing and decreasing variably. Okay, by decreasing and also decreasing variably. How you know that? What was the value of here? It was 6 and 10. In the next step, it became 10 and 6. In the next step, it became 6 and 4. In the next step, you are becoming 4 and 2. Now people might be thinking, hey, it's decreasing by 2 every time. No. 6 to 10, it is increasing by 10. 10 to 6, it is decreasing by 4. Then 2, then 2. So it's varying. It's not constant factor here. Same thing here. 10 to 6, 4. 4 to 6 to 4, 2. Then again 2. Then again 0. Okay, which is again 2. So this is varying. What do you call it as? This is decreasing. Of course, it is decreasing and it is decreasing variably. Okay, it is basically decreasing variable. This is what is important. Okay, this is what is important. We are figuring out two things here. One, GCD is got GCD of 6 and 10, right? So 6 and 10 is equal to 2. This is what we got, the first one, and also we were able to show that it is nothing but a variable decrease. That's two things at a time. Okay, two things at a time, but this is not going to end. Okay, this is not going to end. It's a 10-mark question. Explain the decrease and conquer techniques. Explain the various types of decrease and conquer techniques. Be careful with the way of writing your answers. Okay, so basically it comes like this. You need to go with constant, constant factor, and variable size decrease. All three. Did we write an algorithm for the first two? Yes. Have I written for this? No. So sure, what is the next step for us? We are going to write an algorithm for it. Okay. If you write an algorithm, complete answer. Right? It's a complete answer. Did we figure out an equation for each and everything? See, we figure out for each and everything. We are explaining it. Then we wrote an recurrence relation. We even did the tracing, or what is known as the tracking of these GCDs. Okay. Now our job is to go and write an algorithm for it. If you go write an algorithm for it, then our job is all done. Okay, fully done. So what is the next step? Next step is figuring out my algorithm. Okay, I'm going to write an algorithm right here. So what is it? The algorithm to figuring out what decrease and conquer technique, that to variable size decrease. So what is our thing I'm writing, right? I'm going to write an algorithm for GCD of two numbers. What two numbers? M and N. Always it is M and N what we take generally. Okay. So what is the purpose? The purpose is, be careful, I'm going to write a bit fast here. Purpose is to find GCD. Okay. To find the GCD of two numbers. What two numbers? M and N. Okay. Then what is the input? Obviously the input is nothing but M and N. Okay. M and N are the two numbers that you are going to give as a GCD to figuring out the GCD. Then what is the output? The output is nothing but you are going to get the GCD of M and N. Okay, you are going to get a GCD of M and N. That's very important. So this is all done. What's the next step? Next step is you are going to write what is known as an algorithm for it. Okay, how are you going to write an algorithm? Very simple. There are two conditions only, na? So what are the two conditions? If N equal to 0, okay, or equal to 0 like this. If N equal to 0, what you are going to return? You are going to return M. Okay, you are going to return N. Otherwise, what you are going to do? Otherwise, you are going to return GCD of. Be careful with that. You are going to return, I think, capital. Because you are going to, you have written the same capital on top. So you are going to return GCD of what? Be careful with the way I'm writing. N comma M mod N. Is that end? Yes. Is there anything to be done? No. Okay. This is what is known as decrease and conquer. Okay. This is known as decrease and conquer. What is the question? What was the thing that was done? We were talking about decrease and conquer. Okay. In decrease and conquer, there are three strategies. 1, 2, 3. We could say what was decrease and conquer. We could even list out what was the three things, and for each and every three of things, we wrote the explanation. Okay, we wrote an recursive relation or recursive equation, what you call. Then we wrote even an algorithm. Of course, in some places we have even done the manual tracing also. You do all these things, you write all these things, you get the full answer, you get the full marks. That's how things needs to be done. Okay, that's how things needs to be done. You are in fourth sem, there's no other what you call excuses that you people are supposed to get with regard to how you need to tackle VTU. It's a stupid thing. Okay, it's a stupid thing. There's nothing new here. You take 3, 4 old question papers, you sit with you you take out what is the things to be written for each and every answer, this exam is all fully done. Okay, so don't give that much importance as if you are going to write an IIT at all. Sorry, it's not an IIT level exam where you have to worry about and all. It's the same old exam. Your seniors have done it. You should also do it without any problem. Okay, so let's go for the next one. Okay, the next part of this model 2, the last part of this model 2, a very big model to be honest. Okay, so what is the next step? The next step is we are going to figure out what is known as topological sorting. A thing called topological sorting we are going to learn. Okay, now before we move into this, I'm going to say what are the things that you're going to look for here. First and foremost, this comes under a technique of decrease and conquer. So you can very clearly understand that we are going to decrease something every step. So this comes under decrease and conquer, this topological sorting. And again, there are two methods for doing this. You're going to learn both the methods. Okay, you're going to learn both the methods because they are not prescribed what is the method to be followed. Of course, the most simplest of method that you can use, the first one is known as source removal method. Okay, what is the method? The method name is source removal method. That's something that you got to keep in mind. The next one is called as depth first search method. DFS method is what I call. Okay, DFS, depth first search method. There are two methods to be kept in mind. Okay, so please keep this in mind. It comes under the strategy of decrease and conquer. See, the very bad thing is in decrease and conquer, there are various techniques. Okay, but for you, they have given only topological sorting in the syllabus. You could see in the syllabus, there's a last line that clearly says decrease and conquer topological sorting. They clearly don't mention, but decrease and conquer, you need to learn more. So only we saw all those three. Okay, then we are going to look into topological sorting, the last topic of it. These are the two strategies or the two techniques to be followed. Okay, so to do this, first of all, you need to know what is topological sorting. Okay, so that's what we are going to look for here. Okay, the two methods, please keep this in mind. We are going to come back. Okay, we're going to come back with regard to at least the first method we are going to see today. Okay, so what is the way of doing about this? First of all, what is topological sorting? That's very important for us to know. Okay, it in very simple terms, it means that you are going to arrange. Sorting means arrange only. Okay, you are going to arrange in an order. What order we are going to see later? In an order. Generally, where do you think this will be, working through under? If a project needs to be completed, okay, where it has steps like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and all. This is nothing but order. Okay, this is nothing but order. You complete step 1, then step 2, then step 3, then step 4, then step 5 like that. This is nothing but an order. This order is nothing but topological order. Okay, where do you think this will become important? Wherever places where there is some sort of an order required. Okay, wherever there is some sort of an order required, we figure out what is known as a topological sorting. So to do this, there are certain prerequisites. These prerequisites is something which probably would have learnt it way back in your third sem. Okay, but again, I've seen your third sem results, but you never know. Okay, see, one of the worst thing is the easiest subjects of SE, maths have the worst results, whereas the toughest subject like DMS has the best result among all the other subjects. I still can't understand. Of course, still not really happy with this result. Okay, this should have been very much close to 90. Your seniors had it when I took class 2 years back. Yeah, 2 years back, your seniors had it around 94. When I took for your seniors who are now in 6th sem data structures, the results was around 94. Data structures I'm talking about. Okay. Now again, from data structures, I moved to DMS because that was the toughest one. And you people are not at all, things with regard to any of the subject. Okay. I don't know what is the problem with regard to it, but needs to be sort of corrected. Okay. Otherwise,
Fourth sum again will be like that. Again, I'm telling you, your DA is nothing but DMS. Keep that in mind. Okay. See the faculty and you understand what sort of a subject it is. DA is nothing but your second part of DMS. Make sure that if people are little bit careful with regard to this subject. Okay. Now what's the next? Topological sorting. I was telling you what are the requirements. The requirement is first and foremost thing, you need to know what is known as DAG. What is DAG? DAG clearly means you are talking about directed acyclic graph. We need to have direct acyclic graph to figure out what is known as the topological sorting. What is that? Probably you'll be knowing just by looking at it, but I'll tell you. What is directed graph? A graph which has a directions like this. There are two types of graphs. Probably you would have been, sort of learnt it way back. What are the two types of graphs you have? The two types of graph basically comes like this. I can write it like this, right? So I can write a graph like this. One is a graph to be written like this. How do you think the graph it is? See this graph? This is also a graph. Okay. This is an undirected graph. This is an undirected graph. There is no direction. There's, we are connected. These are nodes. Of course, you must be knowing these terminologies, right? These are nodes, and these are vertices, and these are edges. And these edges are undirected, which basically means it can go from any place to anywhere. Okay. So these are undirected. But if I have directions like this, okay, if I have directions like this, then what do you call this? You call this as a directed graph. Okay, this is very important. You call this as a what? You call this as a directed graph. And what's the next? I told you very clearly that it should be acyclic. What is the meaning of acyclic? It should not have any sort of a cycles. No cycle should be present in the graph. Now, what is the meaning of having a cycle? First of all, you just see that this example, is there a cycle? Is there a cycle? What's the meaning of cycle, first of all? Where the source and destination are same. Okay? The source and destination both are same. If I have a graph like this, so I can write it very clearly like this. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I have a graph like this, or else I'll change this. Okay, we'll change this to be having like this. Now I need to figure out whether there is a gyro cycle in this. Yes, I'll say yes, there's a cycle. How? What is that cycle that we have? Source and destination ending at the same point. So probably you can see from there 1 to 4, then 4 to 2, then 3, 4 to 3, then again 4. No, it's not a cycle. That is not a cycle. But there's a cycle. What is that cycle? What is that cycle which you are talking about? Is there a cycle, first of all? I think there is no cycle. There is no cycle. No cycle. But what if I change this? Okay. What if I change this entire thing like this? This from here to here. So now you check. Is there a cycle? Look into this. This going like this, going like this, and of course coming back to the same place. Is there a cycle? Yes. There's a clear-cut cycle that you can sort of easily understand from this. Okay, so there's a cycle here. This will not work when it comes to your direct acyclic graph. This is not a acyclic graph. This is a cyclic graph. So you can't do topological sorting for this.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Hello?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, if 2 is towards if 2 is towards 4, then also we can then arrow marks, that time we can say that is a circle, no sir? I mean it's a cycle.
I didn't get you. I didn't get your question. Hello?
Sir, sir, if sir, your arrow mark is showing that 4 to 2, right, sir? There.
Yeah, 4 to 2. No,
So
I
then,
need to start from 1. Wait. You're talking about 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 2. Only that?
Yes, sir.
That is also a cycle. What if I start from
Yes,
1? Is it a cycle?
Yes, sir.
If I start from if I start from 1, look into this, okay? I start from
Yes, sir.
1. Then I go to 2. Then I go to 3. Then I go to 4. Then I go to 2 again. Is it a
Yes, sir.
cycle?
Yes,
Is
sir.
it a cycle? No. No. See where I'm starting. It's a, what you call a semicircle. Okay. Now just look into this. Where I'm starting from 1. Then 2. Then 3. Then 4. Then again 2 I'm going. But I have not ended with 1. But if you start with only, now you see this. If you start only with 2, is it a cycle? Yes. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But I can write one more
Okay.
cycle also. There's multiple cycles. There's no one cycle and all. The multiple cycles you can have. Now you can have something like 1, then 2, then 3, then again 4, then again 1. Is it a cycle? Yes, it's a cycle. Okay. So what is the thing that
Okay,
you
sir.
got to
Thank
keep
you,
in
sir.
mind here? Okay. When you have, when you have a cycle like this, okay, topological sorting will not work. You keep this in mind. I'm saying it will not work. You keep this in mind. We are going to take a cycle also, and I am going to show you how it will not work. Now we'll take this example. Is there a cycle? Probably there is no cycle. Check here. Going like this, going like this, going like this. There is no cycle right here. Okay. So this is what you call as an acyclic graph. Okay. Very, very important for you to keep in mind that this is a acyclic graph. Will it work for an acyclic graph? Very clearly it works for an acyclic graph. Okay. So this is something that you got to keep in mind. Okay. This graph, directed acyclic graph, the topological sorting will clearly work without any problem. Okay. Now our job. First things we got to know that we are talking about topological sorting. It is nothing but sorting of vertices. How do you think the vertices should be? We are going to take in general U and V. Okay, U and V, and U and V will be in some sort of an order. That is called as topological sorting. For topological sorting, what are the two methods? Source removal method, and of course, the second one being DFS method. Two methods we are going to learn. Next thing, for topological sorting to be working, what are the things to be kept in mind? Number one, it should be a directed graph, which basically means there should be direction. From where to where it is going, from which node to which node, which basically means the edges should have directions. Second one, it should be an acyclic graph, which basically means it should not contain any cycles. If it contains cycles, then finding out a topological sorting becomes very tough. You cannot find out, okay? You cannot just find out for it. So there are two things to be kept in mind. You need to have a DAG, direct acyclic graph, for the topological sorting to be working on. Okay? For this, the next step is to figure out what it is done, how it is done. So for that, obviously, we need to take an example. Okay, stay in the class will be longer. Okay, so you have to be at least till another 50 minutes till we complete that. Okay, that's very important. Now, what is the next thing? Okay, we are going to figure out what is a way of working through this. Okay, what is a way of working through this, and what is a way of thinking about this? First method is nothing but source removal method. So there's something to be removed here. Okay, as the name suggests, there is something to be removed here. If it is removing, that is nothing but decreasing. Removing means decreasing. Okay, so this method also, what is the first method I'm talking about? I'm talking about source removal method. Be careful with I'm writing source removal method. I'm going to remove the entire source. Okay, I'm going to remove the source and then I'm going to work for it. So this is based again on decrease and conquer technique. So what we are going to do here? First and foremost thing to be kept in mind, entire thing right here is, yeah, now screen moves moving. Okay. Now the first thing is you need to have a graph. What graph? You need to have a direct acyclic graph. So very clear, no problem in that. Okay. Second thing is you need to know how to figure out the incoming degree. So something which you have learned way back in your school level itself, or at least in your third sem. Okay. What is known as an incoming degree? Probably you must be knowing what is incoming degree. What is the incoming degree? What is the number of edges that are coming towards a particular node? Incoming, incoming, outgoing. There's no outgoing, only incoming we are worried about here. Okay. And then you need to figure out, once again, you need to figure out wherever the incoming degree, okay, the incoming degree is equal to 0. Then you need to do what is known as removing or removal of incoming degree equal to 0. We are going to do all these things. Okay. Removal of incoming degree is equal to 0. If the sorry, we are back. Okay. Again, the internet problems, the internet connections. Once in a while, it goes. Can't help it. Okay. We need to take this as more like a hindrance, and we have moved forward. Okay. Hopefully, I'm back. Okay. Yeah. So, what are the things I was talking about? These are the things to be sort of kept in mind. Okay. What are things? Okay. You need to figure out what is a graph. What graph it is. I think it should be a direct acyclic graph without any problem. And you need to figure out what is an incoming degree. The incoming degree should be equal to 0. If it is equal to 0, we are going to removing that incoming degree. If you are able to do that, okay, if you are sort of able to do that, then the most important thing would be the graph or everything will be put into some sort of an order and all. Okay, so that's very important here. How we are going to do this? Of course, it is going to take a long time. Anyway, first we are going to take our graph. We're going to first figure out the incoming degree. Probably the next step, in the next session, in the next class, we are going to figure out this, the entire problem and all. Okay, because again, it should not be in such a way that I'm taking more than up to 11 o'clock and all. Okay, so yeah, fine. So let's take this example. We'll take one example and figure out what is the first step. First thing is, I'm going to take one example here. What is the example? Nothing but a direct acyclic graph. But you should not believe me with regard to when I say acyclic graph. You should yourself see whether it is a acyclic graph or not. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 nodes here. And of course, it should be a directed graph. So this is how a directed graph is. Okay. You can see very clearly it is how the directed graph it is. Now our job, It's a directed graph, no doubt in that. First, you need to check whether it is acyclic. Is it acyclic? Does it contain any sort of cycles? I don't think so. It contains any sort of a cycles. You just look into it. Is there any cycles? 1, then 3, then 4, then 5. That's all. One. Then again, it may start with 2, 3, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. No, there is no cycles. Okay. So one thing you can very clearly say is, of course, it's directed, common sense, just by looking at it, and of course, it is very much acyclic. It is directed graph, and also it is acyclic graph. No doubt in that. Okay, there's no doubt in that. What's the next step? What is the next thing to be kept in mind here? The next thing to be kept in mind is you need to figure out the incoming degrees. If you want to figure out the incoming degrees, how do you think it will be? First, I'm not going to write it explicitly under, I'm just going to write it here itself so that it becomes easy. Okay, so how do you figure out the incoming degree of this? First, say what is the incoming degree with regard to 1. The incoming degree with regard to 1 is nothing but equal to 0. Incoming degree, which basically means there should be edges coming towards it. What is the incoming degree? 0. For 2, 0. For 3, incoming is 2. For 4, incoming is 1. For 5, incoming is 2. So if I write what is known as the incoming degrees for various things, okay, for maybe like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is the incoming degrees for each and everything? The first one is 1, 0, 0, 3, it has 2, 4, it has 1, and 5, it is nothing but again 2. Okay, you figure out what it is. Easily we can understand that this is the incoming degree. Now what is the next step? Next step is you need to delete the one which doesn't have, which you need to delete a place or a node that has an incoming degree of 0. What is the one? You have this one. You have this one. Both can be deleted. Probably first time you are going to delete one. Later in the next step, you're going to delete one more. Okay, that's how it will be done. This is a long step for it. Okay, later, whichever is deleted, that will be coming as your topological order. Okay, this problem we are going to continue in the next class. It's already more than 40-45 minutes here. Okay, so yeah, you can all, because you need to attend the next class also, right? Now, you see this, we are going to sort of look into these